Do you know that what did the Oppenheimer said when he was the first mayor of Kimberley? He said, let us stop the natives from digging diamonds. Yeah, only us as settlers who must dig. He makes a law, a bylaw in local government. So you are saying we must condone him for stopping you as a native to participate in the economic circulation. That's my first problem.
I just want to help you. For people that don't know,
Yes.
South Africans used to mine comfortably before some of those laws. The laws were set because we used to dig. Forget Amazamazama today. We used to dig and mine our own minerals. And you're very right. The Oppenheimers became the first. They formalized politics in this country. And you're very right. And I think that Kimberley Act still rules the diamond industry to this day, globally, not just...
Yeah, it's a Kimberlite process, we call it that.
The Kimberlite process.
Yeah, our Mineral Resources and Petroleum Development Act of 2002, amended in 2004.
Yes.
Now, I'm coming from the mining space, so I know what I'm talking about. So, the very administrative system of local government we're having today was perfected by the Oppenheimers in Kimberley. First street lights were in Kimberley. And then he says, we must not participate. So that's my first problem.
Correct.
I don't mind about economy. Yeah, you're right. Before, all of us were digging. I'll give you another example. Ulangal Balel, Wamahlubi, Escort, MJs. They were working at Kimberley. And they were able to bring guns from those whites who were trading there. But the same whites, they were envying his land, Escort, Mchezi, you name all those areas, the Ladysmith. Then they charged him for carrying guns which he obtained as articles of exchange. Because there was no monetary economy at that time.
Yes.
So, unginikeza isibhamu, and then uthathe lokho okuthathayo.
Yes.
Which means mhlambe ngigubhile amadayimani. Kodwa manje anginayo imarket. I don't have the market for this.
Yes.
Because you've got a market overseas of diamond. Take this diamond, but I'm interested to your gun for one reason. Hunting. Not just to kill people, but hunting primarily. But yes, in case I'm under threat,
Sure.
I will shoot and
For
kill.
defense.
Yes, it's defense. So we traded. Now they figure that they pass a law, they say you are charged for holding guns, which is unlicensed. Bamthatha bamfaka Robben Island. Mandela is not the first one to be in Robben Island.
Ulanga Balele is the gentleman of where
Kwalanga
Township in Cape Town
Ulanga
is named
Township
after.
is named after him because when he was released from Robben Islands, he was dumped Kwalanga.
Uthiwa Nhlubi unkosi.
Amahlubi inkosi oHadebe omthimkhulu
ORhatebe.
Amahlubi, yes. Ulanga Balele kwaku 1873 when they took him there.
1873.
Yes.
And you're saying he was the first prisoner in Robben Island?
Not the first,
One of
but
the first.
one of them. Yeah, most of Amakosi, when the whites landed here, they took a lot of kings into Robben Island for imprisonment, including Amakoi and the San people. That was the perfection of apartheid. Apartheid was perfected in the mining sector.
By the British. Or not
By
even the
them,
British, by settlers, wherever they came from in Europe.
Every player who participated in the South African mining process,
Sure.
they perfected. Apartheid isuka lapho where they say natives must not participate. It didn't end in Kimberley. Then it came to PWV, Pretoria, Witwatersrand, and Vereeniging. The entire mining industry started to envy blacks participating. I'm bringing another context. A Pilgrim's Rest, Kwashiba, Shiba mine, a gold mine, is named after Isizwe Saka Shiba, Maswati. The understanding is that Babona, the Shiba, building their crown with gold. And then, never figure, but please sell us this precious stone or allow us to explore this gold and we'll name this mine after you. That's why it's called Shiba Mine. I met the queen.
Nabo Shiba, they were flexing, making crowns out of gold.
Exactly. No,
Yes.
but I market. You must understand as an economist. I'm an economy student. So,
Sure.
in the event whereby there's no market, it's a closed economy. Monetary economy is the yesterday thing. We used to do barter trade.
Yes.
So, that was economics at its best at that time because Ubati gave us these stones in exchange for this. So they were supposed to go into a joint venture, a Shiba Mine, Barberton. They named it after them, still called even today.
Sheba Mine.
They never gave them anything. This I'm taking from the Queen herself we met 2 days ago. She says,
The Queen of the Sheba people?
Of the Shebas, yes. She says, since that mine is called Sheba Mine, is mining gold, one of the best, they are not getting anything. They ended just with the name saying Sheba Mine. She went on to say, even the farms around there, macadamia farms and so on, they took all of that and drove everyone else. It's not far from where Lily Mine, the mine that collapsed of the mining, the mine in Lily Mine, it's a Barberton. Kune gold there. They don't participate. You know why they don't participate? It's the precedent set by the Oppenheimers. So here are the ones you are envying to say they've done well. Yes, give them credit for having done well, for perfecting the South African economy, but also give them credit for perfection of apartheid.
Yes.
We're excluding the natives. So if blacks are excluded, it is on record, it is them. With proof. Now, let's go on then to say the issue of us. There was a meeting in 1884 of kings of Europe and presidents of America. It's called the Berlin Conference. It started on November 1884 to February 1885. They were scrambling for Africa. It's a book. It's a thick book, about 600 pages. It says The Scramble of Africa. Here are superpowers of the world now dissecting the entire continent as colonial thefts for themselves, changing the cultures of those people. No wonder Africa, we have Portuguese, we have French, we have British countries and so on, because a decision was taken, let's change these people's culture in order to use them easily. Remember, Lord Macaulay said, I've never seen such rich people in Africa staying in peace, no crime and nothing. But if we want to oppress these people, we must change their spirituality and their education system, sell them the European culture. Once Africans see an alternative to what they know, they will drop their own to take the foreigners' practices. Once they do that, they are perfect candidates for oppression. These are the same people. This is the narrative they're driving. So I want you to be aware that in the narratives we are driving of economic participation, there is also a narrative of exclusion, of oppression, of killing. What is happening in the DRC now? It is a military practice when they say the best time to invade a country, it is when there is war. So which means we must stage these wars so that during the warring time, we loot. And then we arrive at settlement of peace.
Of course.
We would have looted everything by that time. That's how it works. So your attachment with outfits of democracy, whether you love democracy or not, I say it's not about democracy, it's about interest. US narrative on democracy is not that they're pursuing democracy, they're pursuing interest. Let me shock you. Currently, they are moving the treasury in the US. They want to use, what is this gas? The nitrogen gas, something like that.
Okay.
To produce energy, which is unlimited. This is the next bearer of value in the treasury. Now,
Nitrogen gas.
nitrogen, yes. Which we have it in abundance. Yeah. They are already eyeing that. Now, what does that say to you? Do you think they will come in peace and say, let's transact and let's be partners in that? Or they will bulldoze your way out using all their might? It is in their practice. Go to literature. You will find a plethora of invasion of countries because there's an interest. So I'm advising those who are attached to outfits of democratic systems, capitalism, communism, those things don't work. When there is an interest, we can use democracy as a medium, but to arrive in the end. It's a means to an end. It's not the end. The end is interest. What is it that you're interested in? So your Oppenheimers, they're interested to all our precious minerals. The Marinsky platinum belt, PW platinum belt. And they don't want anyone to take that. Okay, let me go to mining. You know why in 94, do you know that it took 10 years for the Mineral Resources and Petroleum Development Act to be passed in South Africa? And do you know the damage that happens between the 10-year space, which means we were using the old order mining law? And they were moving out gold, they were moving all the mineral unchecked because the laws allowed them.
Yeah.
So it is deliberate that MPRTA was suspended for a long time. Do you know how they came to sign it? We had to devalue the rand so that they lose. After they realized that they are losing their shares, they came to the table to sign that law. Otherwise, they didn't want to sign it. That was 2002.
Who devalued the rand?
Oh, yeah. Now you're asking the question.
Sorry.
Yeah. Now maybe let's dwell in that question. This devolution of the rand, Nina, you are stuck with the idea that markets are the one that shapes the devolution of currencies. Those who control economies, they stage devolution of currencies as well, which means if I want to force a particular country to take a certain decision, what I do, I crash the economy just temporarily so that you get your way. Once everyone is willing to comply because their interest, their pocket is affected, you hold them at ransom. That's what the Rothschilds do. The war between France, I think, and England, if I'm not mistaken, they control the communication during that war.
Correct.
They send a wrong signal that says the other is winning and the other is losing. When they realized that, oh, we are losing in England, they started selling all their shares. As they sell their shares, they got them cheap. They were standing already to pocket everything. When the truth came to say, no, man, they were lying, those guys. Oh, it's late. You've already lost. That's how they got to control most of the reserve banks in the world.
Why are white people richer or more wealthy than black people? It is not because God preordained it. As much as white people would love for us to believe that hogwash, that the reason white people are rich, the reason white people are more economically empowered than black people, it is because of their hard work or because it was preordained by God. There's no such. The reason white people are economically dominant compared to black people, it is because white people colonized black people, enslaved black people, made black people work not for the benefit of black people, but for the benefit of white people. That is the reason white people are richer and are economically well off compared to black people. They started by colonizing black people, the Africans, violently so, killing black people, dispossessing the Africans of their land and all the riches that can be found on that land. And among those riches, we are talking about the mineral wealth. The very same mineral wealth that the white wealth is built from. They came as settlers, dispossessed black people of their land. And therefore, by dispossessing black people, it means black people no longer had their own independent means of production and sustenance. Therefore, that opened the route for the enslavement. They then created the laws that prevented Africans from utilizing their own land for their own enrichment and benefit. Things like mines and all of that. White people don't discover any diamond. White people do not discover any gold. It's a lie. You see, they just created the laws and they used violence to prevent black people. The laws was to ensure that there's no competition from black people. My name is Stephen Kwasana. The name of the platform is Izwi Labansundu, the voice for Africans. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. Kamakuma Africa.